Floats and buoys are not just for people on Baywatch or lifeguards. We absolutely need to use these while we're spearfishing. Hey guys, I'm Andrew with Diving Sports, and today we're going to talk about floats for spearfishing, why we use them, and different styles of floats. So the main reason why we use floats is for safety. If you're ever out with your buddies and somebody gets separated, it's going to be a lot easier to look for a bright orange float and flag compared to looking for some camo wetsuit hoods. And it's going to be the exact same thing if you ever get pulled out to open ocean and need to be rescued. It's going to be a lot easier for search and rescue to look for you if you've got one of these compared to if you don't. They're also going to allow boats to see where you are. Now there's a lot of stupid people on boats, so I'm not going to say that this is going to magically protect you, but it is going to allow them to see where you are and hopefully stay away from you. Now there's also going to be places where legally you have to have a float, and they might even have regulations on how big the flag has to be and how far away you're allowed to be from your float while you're spearfishing. So definitely take a look at your local laws and regulations for that. Another reason why we use these is it's a super great place to hold your fish after you've actually speared them. Now some people are going to use stringers to hold their fish and put that around their belt. Now that's totally fine if you're diving somewhere like here in Vancouver where you don't need to worry about sharks, but if you're diving somewhere tropical where there is sharks, I personally don't recommend that. What I like to do when I'm diving in places with sharks is to put my stringer on the back of my float and use that to hold my fish. I find that it's a lot safer and I have more peace of mind knowing that my fish is farther away from me compared to being right on me. Now there's definitely going to be different opinions on if you should keep your fish on you or on your float. That's just personally what I've done while living in places where there are a lot of sharks or traveling in those places. But feel free to disagree with me in the comments. And besides using your float to hold your fish, it's also super handy to be able to attach any extra spear guns on there, pole spears, or even a bottle of water. Now we can also use floats in place of a reel. If you're a beginner, I don't really recommend you to use a reel just because there's a lot of things going on and it can be pretty overwhelming really quickly. So I definitely recommend you to get a float. If you're ever diving somewhere super deep and you need to let go of your gun, you can do so knowing that it's attached to your float with your float line and you're not going to lose it. We can also use blue water floats for the same purpose. Now you can either attach these to your gun using a float line or a breakaway setup, and it's going to help you not lose your gun or your fish. And another way that you can use your float is to use a dive anchor or a small lead weight at the end of your float line. That allows you to drop it and dive around the float as opposed to having it attached to you or your gun the entire time. So now that we've gone over why we use floats, I'm going to go over a couple different styles of floats. And first up, we've got the inflatable float. So this is a really simple one that Beuchat makes. It comes with a float line, float, and a flag as well. And it's got this really nice durable outer to it. So if you guys are going to look for this style of float, don't go with one that's a vinyl material. Those ones are going to pop really easily. It's going to be really easy to put a hole in them. Just a little bit of a waste of money. Go with something that's more durable. And these are going to be the most common ones that most beginners are going to have just because they don't break the bank and they get the job done. And next up, you've got your hard floats. Now this one's made by Rob Allen. They come in a couple different sizes, as well as air-filled or foam-filled. I really like these ones. They're super durable. You can really trash them and they hold up really well. And next up, we've got our high-pressure blue water floats. Now these are super handy if you're ever hunting big game fish. That high pressure prevents that fish from taking your float underwater and from you losing it. And we've got different styles. We've got ones that have attachments for flags and ones that don't. And up next, we've got our board style floats. Now obviously these are a lot different. This one's definitely got this kind of like flat surfboard shape to it. Some of them even have, like fins on the bottom to help guide it through the water. We've got ones that are inflatable and ones that aren't, like a hard plastic banks board. Now personally, I've used all these different styles of floats, and my favorite is definitely the Rob Allen hard floats. I really like them just because they're super durable, they hold up really well, and you never have to worry about them breaking. The only thing I don't like about these is that they're a pain to travel with just because they take up so much space in your luggage, so definitely keep that in mind if you're looking at one of these. Now the other style of float that I really like is going to be the high pressure blue water float. Now I've used the Rife version of this, almost the exact same thing, and they offer just a lot of versatility in one float and they're pretty easy to pack away and travel with. And so that's the basics of floats, why we use them, and different styles of floats. I definitely recommend that everybody have a float, or at least to have one in your group of dive buddies while you're actually in the water. It's just a really safe practice and they're super useful for all the reasons that we mentioned before. And if you guys want to check out any of these floats, feel free to come down to the shop or take a look on our website, and I'll put the link down in the description for you. And as always guys, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.